Hey, everybody. Thank you. Nope, let me start again. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this next piece in your group study on Daniel chapter 6. My name is Hollis, and I'm one of the pastors here at Grace Place, and really great to be able to share some thoughts with you from Daniel as you guys continue in your study. Hopefully you had the opportunity to see Pastor Clay's message on Daniel chapter 6, and excited for the questions that you have tonight. But if you haven't seen that, or if you have, I'm just going to give you just kind of a brief overview of Daniel chapter 6 and some key things that I see in this. And so the characters that we have here in this is we have Darius the Mede. And so just in chapter 5, we had seen that Belshazzar had died, and Darius the Mede, the same night that he died, came in and took over. And so now we have Daniel, who's the prophet, who's now serving under Darius the Mede. And another group of people who are mentioned here in this text are the satraps. And so the satraps, they're the governors. They're the governors over the different provinces. And so in the text, it says there's 120 satraps to rule throughout the land. And then there's 3 administrators that are put over these satraps, and Daniel being one of them. And so as we go through this, we see that Daniel, he's taken into captivity, and throughout his captivity, he has served God, and he has served those that he finds himself under in captivity faithfully and well. And he's been faithful under the persecution, under threats of death, under not caring what other people thought of him. So we really just see that Daniel has stood firm, even though he had every right or reason probably to be able to lash out or to be vengeful against his captors. We don't see him behaving that way. And in verse 4, I love what it says in verse 4 here. It says, at this, the administrators and the satraps tried to find grounds for charges against Daniel in his conduct of government affairs. But they were unable to do so. They could find no corruption in him because he was trustworthy and neither corrupt nor negligent. I want you to imagine yourself in Daniel's shoes. You're taken captive into enemy territory. You've gone through so much. I mean, we've seen through the first 6 chapters that Daniel has been through a lot. And now he's under a new king and with other people now who are after him. And Daniel probably has, I was thinking if it was me, I would probably be wanting to get home, and I'd probably be scheming and doing different things that would be dishonest. I'm a pastor, and so I'm just kind of being honest right now, thinking about if I'm taken captive, what would my response be? And so Daniel, he didn't respond in that way. He didn't respond in a way of trying to figure out how to get home or how to, peel a little bit of money off of whatever he's bringing in so he can stash it aside so that, he can get back to his land and build a house and have some goats and donkeys or whatever. No, he's faithful and trustworthy and not corrupt in anything that he does. And so we move on through the story and we see that the satraps, they set this trap because they're jealous. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, they're jealous of Daniel. They're jealous of his faithfulness and jealous of how he's being promoted. And so they set this trap for him. And in verses 16 and 20, I love looking at this. Verse 16, the latter part, after the trap is set, Darius comes and he's like distraught. And so look at Daniel's reputation here. Daniel's reputation goes before him. And it says, Darius says, "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." That's in the latter part of 16. And then in verse 20, after Daniel's thrown into the lion's den, Darius comes near and he calls down to Daniel in an anguished voice. And he says, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God whom you serve continually been able to rescue you from the lions? I love this. I love this. I don't know how long Darius has known Daniel, but it's obvious that Daniel has a reputation as a man after God's own heart. He has a reputation as a man who serves one God, the God, and his reputation points others to God, not towards him, but to God. See, Daniel throughout all of this has been faithful and been trusting and been obedient to God, and he never ruined his witness. I think about that even in the context of our modern day, and how would we respond? And would we be shrieking against the enemy, right? Because this is the enemy ultimately for him. Would we be shrieking against them and saying all kinds of mean and derogatory things and pointing out all the wrongs and the bad things about them, all the while ruining the witness for God? Daniel doesn't do that. See, he serves faithfully God. He serves faithfully those that he's put under, and ultimately he has a powerful witness. And God used that witness to influence not just a king, but a kingdom. If we look at verse 26 through 27, so this is Darius after he's been saved. He's issuing a decree, and he says, I issue a decree that in every part of my kingdom, people must fear and reverence the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, and he endures forever. His kingdom will not be destroyed. His dominion will never end. He rescues and he saves. He performs signs and wonders in the heavens and on earth. He has rescued Daniel from the power of the lions. That's just a super powerful statement to me in thinking about Darius the Mede, who was not a servant of the Most High God, a kingdom who was not a servant of the Most High God. And yet, because of Daniel's faithfulness, because of Daniel's being trustworthy, because of Daniel's witness and persistence in it, this goes out from a king to his entire kingdom. And for me, looking at this, I go back to verse 5. And I think for me, this is a key verse in this. Verse 5 says, finally, these men said, we will never find any basis for charges against this man, Daniel, unless it has something to do with the law of his God. I want that to sink in with you for a moment. Would people be able to say the same about you? Would people be able to say the same about me? They would never find any basis for charges against me unless it has something to do with the law of my God. That's something that I've been meditating on this week and will continue to meditate on. Reminds me of something I think I've said, well, I know I've said before, I don't think that I've said before, is if I were to be put on trial for being a Christian, would they be able to find me guilty? Would they be able to call enough witnesses in to condemn me, to convict me of being a Christian? In other words, being a follower of Jesus. And so the way that I would be convicted of being a follower of Jesus would be there would be a trail so wide of love. There would be a trail so wide of faithfulness, of serving my God, that there would be no choice but to convict me. Even those who I disagree with, even those who might persecute me. We use that word now, but really most of us don't have any real persecution. Even though we might be in hostile territories or around people who are hostile, would those people be able to convict me of being a follower of Jesus? So that's the thought I want to leave you with. I hope you guys have some great discussion in your groups, and I hope you're enjoying this as much as I have been and continue to be. God bless you. Go in peace.